Jack Canfield's Breakthroughs to Success home study course now continues. Enjoy.
We're going to move into this how I'm hiding exercise. And before we do that, Jen is going to come up and sing a song. I want you to think about this phrase for a moment too. It says, what I am is good enough if I would only be it openly. Carl Rogers was one of my teachers. He was one of the great psychologists that ever lived. Carl Rogers, Fritz Perls, there were a number of people that are iconic in that world. And I got to work with him. And one of the things he said was, if I would just be what I am openly, I'm fully enough. Most of us think we're not enough, and so we try to put on stuff that isn't us, try to be what we're not, or we try to hide parts of ourselves because we think that part will be rejected or not loved. But who you are, if you'll just be fully that, you'll find it's enough in every situation. So hold that thought. We'll come back to it. Let's welcome Jan up one more time.
I know that we are all high achievers. We are people who want to do our best. I don't know if any of you suffer from an affliction that I've suffered from since childhood. Perfectionism. And I went to my therapist and I said, if you could help me overcome perfectionism, I'd be perfect. So we're not a bunch of losers here. We're a bunch of people really, really trying. And I'm guessing if you're anything like me, and I know that I am, we even have a sense of shame and guilt if we're trying to be such good people and we still have broken agreements. And so I just want to give you this song. It's my little bit of therapy to help you when the things happen to you that happen to me that are very hard to deal with. You can go to a seminar like this, or you can just bring this song back to your mind, okay? It's up to you. Even better, do both. At first it seemed so harmless, like most dares in high school are. Pale cheeks against the window, in the back seat of the car. It seemed like something everyone should do just once in a life, until I saw that I just mooned our preacher and his wife. But there's nothing I could do about it now. Nothing I could do about it now. Nothing I could do, nothing I could do, nothing I could do about it now. If you've ever done something really, really embarrassing that you wish you hadn't, please sing it with me now. Oh, there's nothing I can do about it now. Sing that again. Nothing I can do about it now. Now sing it shorter. Nothing I can do, nothing I can do, nothing I can do about it now. I wrote a funny email to my closest friend at work about a certain customer who had been quite a jerk. The boss came in next morning with my email in her fist. It seems I'd sent it out to our entire client list. There's Nothing I can do about it now. Sing it with me. Nothing I can do about it now. Now sing it shorter. Nothing I can do. Breathe. Nothing I can do. Breathe. Nothing I can do about it now. If you remember nothing else from the song, just remember the breathe part, okay? I ran into a woman I hadn't seen for quite a while, and it was clear that any minute she'd give birth to her next child. So I said, congratulations! When's the baby due? She said, Jana, get your glasses checked. The baby's almost 2. There's nothing I can do about it now. Sing it with me. Nothing I can do about it now. Now sing it shorter. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do about it now. Now I'm standing at the pearly gates, not heaven any fun, as St. Peter watches DVDs of all I've said and done. As for getting into heaven, I'm not placing any bets, lest God not only can forgive, but also can forget. There's nothing I can do about it now. Sing it with me. Nothing I can do about it now. Now sing it shorter. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. Nothing I can do about it now. One last time. Oh, there's nothing I could do about it now. Help me out here. Nothing I could do about it now. Sing it shorter. Nothing I could do. Breathe. Nothing I could do. Breathe. Nothing I could do about it now. Oh, there's nothing I can do about it now. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to work on this how do you hide thing. Isn't that cute? Do you ever feel like that? So what we need to do is find a partner, take your notebook with you, sit facing them, knee to knee, eye to eye. As soon as everyone has one, we will begin. And the questions we're going to work with, this is a partner process where you're going to be asking your partner a question, they'll answer it, you'll ask them the next question, they'll answer it, and there's a series of questions. And the first question is, what do you hide? So you might answer, I hide my spirituality. Who do you hide it from? The people at work. What do you fear if they knew? Well, they might think I was woo-woo, or they might think I wasn't a solid scientist, or they might think I wasn't, rational, or whatever it might be. And what does hiding cost you? Well, it costs me feeling authentic, it costs me my enthusiasm, it costs me my sense of aliveness, it costs me whatever. And then what would you rather have? Well, I'd rather feel alive. I'd rather feel I'm living my truth. I'd rather feel that I'm speaking my truth. And then the last question is, how could you get it? Well, I can speak my truth. I can talk about my spiritual beliefs. I don't want to ram them down anyone's throat, but I don't want to hold back. There's a difference between proselytizing and simply sharing. And then your partner will ask you the same question at the top again. In a sense, what else do you hide? And this time you might say, well, I remember when I used to have a beard. I hide my receding chin. So I had this beard. I used to shave it so it looked like I had a strong jawline, which I don't. And who do you hide it from? Everybody. What do you fear if they knew? Well, when I was in high school teaching, I looked like a high school kid. And I've always looked about 10 years younger than I really am. And so I was afraid that they wouldn't take me seriously. And that, I actually got asked for a hall pass by another teacher one day. What does hiding cost you? Well, in that case, it cost me the approval and the acceptance of people who thought people with beards were all drug addicts and hippies. It cost me, when I was the senior in college, They told me they would elect me president of the fraternity if I shaved my beard off, because they didn't want to send someone to the National Council that had a beard. I refused, so I ended up being vice president of the fraternity. But that was a decision I made. Probably cost me some networking and so forth. What would you rather have? I'd rather feel free that I'm acceptable and attractive, whether I have a beard or not, that people will take me seriously, whether I have a beard or not, and how could you get it? Would be that I could simply shave and be myself and see what happens. You know, so you got the idea. So it can be anything you hide. We'll go through these. Now we're going to do this for about 10 minutes in each direction. So you'll get to go through 5 or 6, maybe even 7 of these things. So I really want you to get this importantly, because to the level that you hide is the level that you're using energy against yourself. Do this with me for a minute. Take your right hand and make a fist, and then take your left hand and put it over your fist, you know, like if you were trying to push forward against the resistance, and then really push hard for about 60 seconds here, okay? And keep doing that. Now, if we were to do that for a long time, what would start to happen? You'd feel worn down, you'd feel tired, you'd feel, you know, you're using up a lot of your energy to do what? Hold yourself in. As soon as you take your left hand away and let it go and the right hand goes out, now what do you have? You have all this energy available to achieve your goals, to focus on your relationships, to be intending the things you want, and to make contact with people and so forth. And so much of our energy is holding ourselves in. How many of you have ever had a beach ball in a pool or at the ocean? Now, if you push a beach ball underwater and you let go, what's it do? Comes up. And it takes a lot of energy to hold the beach ball under. And many of us are walking around holding down beach balls. We have secrets. We're afraid if anyone knew, they wouldn't love us. You know, we've been divorced, or we've had abortions, or we've lied, or we've cheated, or we've done whatever. And we hope no one ever finds out, because if they did, certainly they wouldn't love us anymore. Okay? So we hide secrets. We hide aspects of ourselves. We hide certain qualities. We hide our creativity, our divinity. You know, we saw Kevin this morning hiding this beautiful poetic talent that he has. Now it's out more. And what happens when it comes out? People applaud it, because we all want that. And we applaud it when we see it. So that's what we're working toward here, okay? All right. So whoever partner A is, you're going to answer the questions first. Partner B will be asking the questions first. And if you get stuck, if you feel you need some assistance at any point, raise your hand. Marcia and I will come around, we'll attempt to assist you. Normally people don't get stuck doing this, there's no reason to, but if for any reason you need some coaching, you know, we're available, okay? So, any questions about how to do this? All right, go ahead and begin. Okay, I want to just hear from some people. I'm not sharing, not the mic, just kind of, I'll point to you, yell it out, one word, phrase. What did you come down to the bottom line? What are some of the costs that you discovered for hiding?
Inauthenticity.
Okay, that's okay. Inauthenticity, all right?
Energy.
Costs you energy.
Integrity.
Costs you integrity.
Lack of intimacy.
Lack of intimacy.
Joy.
Joy.
Not being our real self.
Not being your real self.
Not having a community of people around me that share values.
Not having a community of people that have the same shared values, because they don't even know what yours are, perhaps. Yeah, exactly. Yes. What?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Back pain.
Back pain. Growth. Costs you growth. Joe? Withhold. Okay. Yes.
Not fulfilling or reaching your own capabilities.
Not fulfilling or reaching your own capabilities.
Peace.
Costs you peace.
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment.
A willingness to live with incredible pain and shame.
So it costs you incredible pain and shame. Yes.
Isolation.
Isolation.
Opportunity.
Costs you opportunity.
Happiness.
Happiness.
Authenticity.
Authenticity.
Full self-expression in the life of my dreams.
Full self-expression in the life of your dreams. Honesty. Your own integrity. Yes. Costing you a lot of money. I can relate. Yes. Health. It's costing others things as well. For example, what?
Well, just not by reaching out, doing things for the people. I just found, me getting it with my small 5%, it's really costing them more because I'm not reaching out, doing more for others.
So I'm not doing more for others because I'm not reaching out, because I'm hiding that part of myself, and it's costing them as well as me. Thank you. Costing you self-esteem. A lot of joy.
Opportunity to express love.
The
Opportunity to express my love for them.
opportunity to express your love.
Fear of living fully.
So fear, then you're not living fully. Yes. Growing up costs you growing up.
Physical pain.
Physical pain.
Mental health.
Mental health. Okay. All right. Personal freedom.
Carrying a lot of negative baggage.
End up carrying a lot of negative baggage around. Yes.
Spiritual connectedness.
Spiritual connectedness.
Not being genuine.
Not feeling and being genuine. Yes.
Living my dreams.
Not living your dreams.
Time juggling everything.
Time, have to juggle more things than perhaps you might have to. Okay. So you see that there are a lot of costs for hiding. My invitation to you is to stop. Okay? Now, is that necessarily easy? No. Will it be easier after having done this exercise? Yes, because you're not who you were after having done this. I want to share a couple provisos with you, or what should I say, cautions. There are a number of people in the room here who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, and there are places in the world where if you are openly out of the closet, it can cost you. There are real world consequences. What you have to do, as we all have to do in every decision we make about how open we are, is weighing the possibility of real world consequences with the internal losses of freedom, authenticity, etc. And it's not a slam dunk. You should always be open about everything in every situation, you know? If I was a Jew during World War II and a Gestapo person was there, I'm not sure I wouldn't pretend I was a Methodist, you know? Okay? I just want to be clear that, you know, I'm not giving you a rule here. But I do know that when you're more in touch with the costs and you're more also accepting of who you are internally and less concerned about how other people accept you externally, you'll be in touch with when is appropriate and when is not appropriate to share that, because you do know who you can trust and who you can't. When your intuition is fully operative, you'll know. You know, I mean, when I teach in the military, I talk about going to military school. I talk about my athletic career, etc., because I know we can bond on those issues that build some trust. And I don't disclose perhaps some other things about myself because it doesn't serve bonding and building what I want to do to help people move to where they want to go next. So we're always selecting what aspects of our part. We have that ability. The other thing I would talk about is a lot of times people will leave a seminar and they'll be now, truth is the only way, you know. And they'll go home and say, honey, I've never told you this, but 7 years ago I had an affair. And sometimes that's a valuable thing to do, and sometimes it's very destructive. I've seen it ruin a marriage. And so I want to caution you on that one as well. For two reasons. You're all going to leave here by the end of the week knowing you create your reality. You make up the meaning about all events. All events are meaningless. We've assigned the meaning. I mean, an American shoots an Iraqi, and to an American, that was a heroic act. To an Iraqi, that was like a terrible thing, perhaps. And so it's two different perspectives on the same event, and people make up the meaning about what events are. Events are basically meaningless, and we decide what it means to us. So you're here getting in touch with all that, and the people at home are not. And so they don't have the same context, perhaps. They haven't had the same support system that you've had. So I just want to caution you. It's your choice what you share. I think authenticity is a very, very powerful tool, but I also want to not have people go out of here what I would just call with reckless abandonment, you know. So, am I making sense? Okay, good. All righty. So having said all that, obviously the opposite of the cost are the things you want: more aliveness, more joy, more connectedness, more authenticity, being mature, you know, whatever it is. And the way to get that is to be more open. Most of the things that you share, that you hide, you'll find that if you share them more, you'll get people liking you more, not less. When I first started to be a trainer, I was always up here trying to be Mr. Perfect. And what I found was the more I would share the truth about myself, the more people would learn and the more they liked me. We've all seen speakers who lost their way in the middle of a speech and goes, I just forgot what I was going to say. And don't you always kind of reach out to them and like them even a little more now that they're not so perfect? And so, you'll find that's the case as well. All right. We have one more exercise to do before lunch, and it's very powerful. Today is our day of letting go of the negative past, and we're beginning to let go of the ways we hide because of the rejections and things we felt in the past and so forth. But we're going to take a different tack now and look at this whole arena of what we call a significant failure to please. Every one of us in our life has had failures to please somebody that was significant to us in our life. Usually a parent, a brother, a sister, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a teacher, a coach, a neighbor, somebody that was important to us, that we looked up to, that we wanted their approval and love. And when that happened, we made decisions. And we made those decisions in the midst of a very strong emotional feeling state. And as I shared yesterday, when you make a decision and you're emotionally stimulated, that decision has more weight than when you make a rational New Year's resolution. But when if you're tripping up the stage, to get an award when you're a sophomore in high school and everybody laughs and some party goes, that'll never happen again. Meaning, I'm never going to get up in front of people, I'm never going to speak again. We had a kid in my school who, when I was in the 7th grade, teacher said, go to the chalkboard and write 1% as a decimal. And he went up and he wrote 0.1. The teacher got really angry. Teacher was a football coach who had very little anger ability to control his anger. And he was very angry about a lot of stuff. And he went up to the kid and he said, that's wrong. You get one more try. Now imagine, this guy's 6'2", 7th grader, and he writes 0.0, and we all go, oh, yes, he's going to get it. And then he put another O. And for those of you who do know math, we're now in trouble. And then he put a 1, which would have been 0.1%. And so the teacher started shaking him, literally shook him, and then threw him out into the hall against the lockers, and then banged him against the lockers all the way down to the principal's office. Now, that teacher was suspended, if you will, and ended up on the grounds crew of the school. But do you think that kid raised his hand a lot when someone said, what's the answer to the question? No way. It wasn't going to happen. Didn't want to take that risk ever again. A lot of withdrawal occurred. So what happens is we have these events and we make decisions that then affect the rest of our life. And we'll go through a little model here. What happens is you're born and you have this, let's even go back further. In the womb, there's now research that shows in the womb, you can actually start forming these kinds of withdrawals and holdbacks and pulling yourself in and not feeling expressed and picking up vibrationally, if you will, beliefs and feelings from your mother, possibly your father, but the research I've read is mostly about in the womb with the mother. They did a study at UCLA where they asked a mother to read a script, pregnant mother, read a script, and they were monitoring the fetal heartbeat. And she would read, I really don't want this child, it's not a good time, and just all this negative stuff about why it wasn't good to be having a child. And the fetal heartbeat would slow down, would withdraw its life force. Then they'd have about an hour later, the same mother read a script, oh, we're really excited to have this child, and really get into the feeling of it, and the fetal heartbeat would speed up. And we now have all kinds of studies that are being done. There's a whole field of psychology called neonatal psychology. What goes on in the womb and what goes on in the birthing process already starts to affect our self-image, our self-esteem, our self-concept. Some people are clear they weren't wanted. And we heard that this morning from Susanna. My mother used to tell me, you were a hole in my diaphragm. We weren't really expecting you at the time that you came. So that was an issue for me for a while. I overcame it. But the point is, didn't feel wanted. And a lot of us don't. And so these things can start very young. And then usually what happens at some point, we're trying to please our parents to get their love. That would make sense, right? And often we'll have a experience where I'm wanting to give my mom a birthday present, I'm 6, and I paint something, And as I hand it to her, I drop it and it goes on the carpet. And now this attempt to give love and receive love turns into I'm in my room and she's all ticked off about the carpet. And then I start making decisions about that. Think about this scenario. This is very close to something that happened to me. I've changed it a little bit for the point of the exercise, or what I want, the explanation here. But imagine I've got my mom and dad. They were social. They had a lot of parties. And so imagine, how many of you had this experience? We're having friends over for dinner, and they're coming at 6. We're going to feed you at 5. Now, they're having beef bourguignon, great wine, cheese, mashed potatoes, all this stuff, and you're eating the hot dog, you know? And so, saving the good food for them. And so, I eat, and then they send me to my room, and they say, okay, want you not to come down during the party, just, you know, take care of yourself, and here's some art material, and you can draw, and you can have a good time. And, but, you know, stay out of the party. So I go up to my room and I'm drawing, and I draw this really great seascape. It is really cool. I got waves really going. I got whales spouting. I got porpoises jumping out of the water. And I got a sunset and a sailboat and seagulls, and it's really, and I'm proud of it. And so I go, I should tell you, I'm about 2 at this point, right? So all that, 2 years old, you know, gifted young artist. So I go out to my parents, and I look around the corner and I go, Mom. And she says, what? Come here. So she comes over. She says, I thought you were supposed to stay in your room. I know, but look. And I show her the picture. She goes, whoa, did you draw that? I said, yeah. She says, that's really good. Bud, come here. Look what Jack did. And he comes over and says, look what your son did. This is amazing. And I'm going, yeah, I'm amazing. This is good. And then my dad goes, hey, everyone, come here. Stops the whole party. So look what my 2-year-old son did. I think we have a young Picasso here. This is an amazing young man. Look at this art. He's really proud, and he's showing me off and everything. And I'm getting lots of strokes and good feedback for what? Drawing. So this is cool. I go back to my room. I'm all happy. Next day, they put me in my room. And my mom's hungover from the party. And she says, stay in your room. But I can't sleep. I'm too excited. I'm a budding artist. And I want to have that feeling again. So I said, I'm going to go draw them another picture. Well, where did they put my last picture I drew? Anyone know? On the refrigerator. So I say, they like my pictures in the kitchen. So I'm going to go down and do another one. Now, I'm 2, so I don't have little strong distinctions built up between paper and wall yet, right? So I take my highlighter, magic marker, non-erasable thing, and I take my black one, my blue one, my green, and I draw a farm scene. I got a barn, and I got a silo, and I got a cow, and I got goats and chickens, and it's really cool. And I'm drawing this on the door next to the refrigerator. And my dad comes home, because he's a little hungover too, and he's a salesman, so he can kind of do that. And he walks in and he sees me drawing on the door. He freaks out. You son of a gun, I can't believe you. What's wrong with you? And he slaps me on the butt. He says, you go to your room and you think about what you did. And he takes me up there and he says, I can't believe it. I'm going to have to replace that door. And I'm sitting there and I'm going, whoa. Yesterday, I painted something as a winner. Today, I painted something and I am the goat. And I make a very important decision at that time. And the decision I make is, no matter what I do, I can't win. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. You ever had that feeling? Yeah. And a lot of us make that decision. And when we make that decision, a very difficult thing happens. How many of you like to think of yourself as losers? Do you ever go up to someone and say, hey, my name is Owen, I'm a loser? We don't do that. We want to be a winner. But we've already decided we can't win, but we don't want to be a loser. Can't win, don't want to be a loser. How do we solve that dilemma? Well, the way we solve it for most of us is we make a decision called, or we ask the question, how do I avoid losing? So life doesn't become about winning anymore, it becomes about not losing. And there's lots of ways not to lose. And I'm going to hunch that many of you are employing these strategies, and I'm going to go over them up here. We call them adaptations, ways you adapt to the situation called I can't win, or the decision you made I can't win. And one is called don't play. There are people who simply will not play. Come on, let's go dancing. No way I'll ever go dancing. That's a really cool seminar. No, I'm not going to a seminar. Let's start a business. Oh, no way I'm going to start a business. Let's not go to school. Can't lose at school if I'm not playing the game. Can't lose at tennis if I never get on the court. Can't lose at soccer if I don't play the game. Can't lose in the stock market if I never invest. I'm simply not going to play. Because I've already decided I can't win, and this is a way to avoid losing. We all know people like that, don't we? They just won't participate in the game called life. Another way is don't commit 100%. Well, if I lose, I can always say, I wasn't really trying that hard. Right? We don't really commit to the marriage. We don't really commit to the job. We don't commit to our destiny, our mission, our vision, because we always have the out if it doesn't happen to say, well, I wasn't really committed. I wasn't really trying. And we see people do that. Another one is quit if it gets uncomfortable. We've already had one person leave this training because after one day they said, I can't take it in there. It's too claustrophobic. I don't talk about my feelings. I don't share that stuff. It's not who I am. It got uncomfortable and they said, I quit. Okay. One of the reasons I have the guideline complete the training is to try to avoid having people quit. Works for a large degree. It doesn't work totally. But a lot of people quit. I'm going to set a goal to be a millionaire. Oh, that's too hard. I quit. I'm going to go out there and really do my exercise program. Oh, that was difficult. I'm sore today. I quit. Get in the marriage. In the first couple of years, you're in the romantic stage, and we actually now know that there's actual a wash that goes in the brain, a biochemical wash, but eventually it wears off. And then it's called, God, you snore, and you leave dishes in the sink, and I don't like your mom that much, and you like the window open, and I like it closed, and you know, we start going through that stage, and that's hard. Well, to hell with that. I'll go find a new one. You know, instead of working it through. And then we've got one called don't complete anything. I'll start stuff, but I'll never complete it. How many of you have projects you've started and never completed? Books you've started and never completed, you know. I love artists. You go into their studio. Oh, that's a nice piece. It's not done yet. They have 80 paintings. None of them are finished. You know, still working on it. Then you can't judge it. You know, that was a big one of mine for years. How many of you went for doctoral programs but never finished them? Yeah, I did that. It was called the ABD, all but dissertation, you know. And partially it was I was ready to move on. I didn't want to be there anymore, but partially I think it was I didn't want to have to go through the hassle of possibly risking rejection because my topic was guided visualization and intuition, which was really left brain or right, whatever the opposite, right brain, which was opposite of the academic world that I was in. There was no research on how to measure that stuff at that time. Destroy the game. If the game's destroyed, nobody can lose. This is what terrorism is. We don't think we can have what we want, so we're going to keep you from getting what you want. We'll just destroy the game. If the game can't play, nobody loses. Or I don't lose, rather. And a variation of that's, well, where is it? It's not up there. Keep others from winning. So destroy the game. If we're playing football and we're losing, and I just stamp on the ball and like, you know, with an ice pick, and now there's no ball, we can't play anymore. We say, well, the game never ended. Okay. There's a good example when I was a high school teacher. There were the socias, we called them, the kids who were real sociable and they were always dating and so forth. And then there were the kids who were like the gangbangers. And whenever we would have a party, like at school, they would come in and like try to cut the electricity of the school. So all the electricity would go off, then the rock and roll band couldn't play. And then the guys who were supposedly winning socially couldn't win because they destroyed the game. One I heard once, we saw at a client, was called Keep the Game Going Forever. If the game never wins, nobody can be declared a loser. This was really interesting. We had a couple come in for couples therapy, and I rarely say this to a couple, but I finally said to this one woman when she came in alone, why don't you just leave him? You're not happy, he's not happy. Seems to me you're making each other miserable. You're not willing to really commit to stop doing that. Why don't you just end the relationship? She said, no way. I said, why not? She said, he might go find someone else and be happy. And she wasn't going to be willing to let that happen, because as long as he wasn't happy, then it was okay that she wasn't happy. Isn't that amazing? I'm on an airplane once, and a couple across from me is playing Scrabble on a little Scrabble board, and he's really losing. And all of a sudden, she looks out the window, and he takes his knee and hits the tray. And I'm watching this, right? And he looks at me and he winks at me, like, you know, you're in on it, right? But don't tell her, you know. And a few moments later, the stewardess came by and he bought me a beer, like, you know, trying to buy my collusion. And we've seen kids do that. They get so mad, they just, I'm out of here, you know? Very interesting. Become the problem. Let's become the identified patient in the family. As long as I've got something going on, like I'm the alcoholic, or in my case, it was my mother was being the alcoholic. My sister was the first woman in our family line that ever went off and got a professional job. And she was a producer on Sesame Street, New York. And when that started to happen and my sister started getting successful, every time my sister would start to get successful, that's when my mother would binge and my sister would quit her job and move back to take care of my mom. And what we eventually realized what was going on was my mom was feeling kind of, threatened by her success and judging that she wasn't successful. And so she would binge on alcohol. My sister would quit and then my mom wouldn't feel so bad again. It also got my mom, company, which she was not willing to go out and risk asking for among her own peers. But we see people do that. They'll become the victim in a sense, the problem, and everyone has to stop the game and attend to them. And be the judge. This is a great one. I love this. If you can't make a good movie, what could you become? A movie critic. And you can make everyone else's movie wrong, which makes the one you never did in your head what? Right. Better than theirs. Right, exactly. And so it's not that all movie critics are this, but I'm just saying that in general, I can sit back. So let's say I'm afraid to go dancing because I don't know how to do it. I'm afraid I'll look bad. I don't want to lose. So I sit over at the table and go, look at those sluts out there dancing. That is really disgusting. Kids today. And look at this, even Mary. She's my age. She's out there. What is she trying to be 15? What's wrong with her? You ever see people do that?
Yes.
Yeah. And as long as we can make them wrong and judge them, then we don't have to play. There will be people who will come into a seminar like this, and they'll sit here, and they don't want to get involved. They don't want to open up, and so they make the seminar wrong. This is a dumb seminar. I can't believe we're asking people to do this kind of stuff. And then they'll try to enroll someone else. Isn't this a dumb seminar? Don't you think? And if they can get agreement, then they're really in good shape. Because now they don't have to play. Because if they play, they might lose. Is any of this making sense? Yeah. Okay. The last one's called Be Perfect. In an attempt not to lose, we try to be perfect. Jana sang that song about, it's okay to make mistakes. We can let it go. We're not perfect. Perfectionism, she talked about that. And that was one I put on for years. I tried to be perfect. I was the good little boy, shined my shoes in military school, did all that stuff correctly, had manners. Not that that's a bad thing, but I was, yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir kind of thing. And did everything, stayed up till 3 a.m, perfecting everything. It has some payoffs. Get good grades, become a good musician. I dressed really perfectly, shined my shoes. Still do that today. It's part of a habit I haven't fully overcome yet. And but there's a sense of you're always feeling like you're going to get what? Found out. There's some flaw in the perfection. They're going to find the one thing, like there's a hole in my pants, or my fly's unzipped, or my Mont Blanc pen ran out of ink when I needed it, or some darn thing. And so they're never really at peace when the success occurs. You're always kind of waiting for them to find the thing that isn't perfect. I had a friend who was a trainer, actually, did this kind of work. And man, he would, if he didn't bowl like a 290 in bowling, he would throw his ball against the wall. And it was because he was afraid that if he wasn't perfect, his dad wouldn't love him. So he was trying to be perfect so he wouldn't lose his dad's affection. Any of you know about perfectionism? Yeah. So what we're going to do in this next exercise is we're going to, it'll be a closed eye process. We'll put on some music. We'll have an experience of drifting backwards in time to the first time you can remember having a significant failure to please. You may be thinking of one now. It's not necessary. When we do the exercise, one will come up. And I'll ask you to go back there to just notice what happened, what you were trying to get, what was the activity that you were doing, what happened, what was the rejection that occurred, or the non-acceptance, or the lack of response that you got. And then we'll look at what decision did you make. It might have been one of these, it often is, and sometimes people make other decisions that are not up on this list, so it doesn't have to be one of those. And then I'll ask you to contemplate for a minute, how has that decision limited you? What has it kept you from? What does it cost you? And then we will bring in one last aspect, which I'm not going to tell you. It actually takes it to a healing level, but if I tell you in advance, it kind of takes away some of the impact of it. Okay? So if you'll just sit back in your chair, close your eyes, nothing in your laps, make sure you're as comfortable as you can get in those chairs. I know they're not perfect, but do the best you can. We'll bring the lights down a little bit. We'll bring in some music. Just become aware of your back against the back of your chair and your thighs against the seat of the chair. And as you take your next breath, you can feel your chest and stomach rising and falling. And just become aware of what you're feeling in your left foot. Allow yourself to move that awareness up into your left calf muscle, the lower part of your leg from the knee down. Just notice what you're feeling there. And as you move your awareness up into your left thigh, you can feel your whole left leg just beginning to let go and relax even more than it is now. Then allow yourself to place your awareness in your left buttock. Notice what you feel there. And then the left side of your lower back and your stomach area. If there's any tension, just let it go. As you breathe out, the tension goes with it. As you breathe in relaxation and ease. And let your awareness move up into the left side of your chest and the left side of your upper back, which you can feel expand and contract as you inhale and exhale. Again, inhaling relaxation, exhaling any tension. Become aware of your left hand and forearm. Notice what you're experiencing there. And the upper part of your left arm and your left shoulder. As you take your next breath, you may find as you exhale that your left shoulder relaxes even more. Become aware of the muscles on the left side of your neck. Become aware of your jaw, the muscles around your mouth, your cheek muscles, the muscles around your eyes, your forehead, your scalp, and you notice as you become aware of these muscles, they relax even more. And then place your awareness on the right side of your neck. And into your right shoulder. Become aware of what you're experiencing in the upper part of your right arm. And then the lower part of your right arm. And your right hand. Noticing that all we have to do is pay attention to that part of our body, and it lets go and relaxes even more. And become aware of the right side of your chest and your upper back, feeling the expansion and contraction as you breathe in and out. And place your awareness in your lower side of your right side of your back, and the right side of your stomach area. And your right buttock. The upper half of your right leg, your thigh muscles. And down past your knee into your right calf and shin. Just letting go. Finally, allow yourself to relax even more your right foot, just by paying attention to what you're experiencing there. It will relax even more. And from this state of relaxation, allow yourself to begin drifting backwards in time from this moment in this room, backwards in time over the years to the earliest time that you can remember having a significant failure to please. And as you go backwards in time and remember an event that you would call a significant failure to please, a time when you were trying to express love or receive love, and it felt like it didn't work or it backfired. Just nod your head, but only as fast as you remember a significant time. where you had a failure to please. And as you remember a time when you had a significant failure to please someone important to you, let yourself step into that person you were, perhaps a little child, looking out through those eyes at this other person or persons, and allow yourself to experience what it was you really wanted, what you were intending to happen. And if any feelings come present, just allow yourself to have them. It's okay to feel the pain or the disappointment or the sadness or the betrayal or whatever it is you felt. As you're aware of this moment in time when you were so wanting to love or be loved, to be accepted, affirmed, validated, included, honored, and received, ask yourself, what decision did I make as a result of this event that might still be limiting me in some way in my life today? And as you're there, back in that moment of time, you begin to notice that in the distance, there's a wise and loving being walking toward you. It could be a wise man or a wise woman or an angel. Just notice what this person looked like as they approach you. And as they get nearer, you can notice there's a light gleaming out of their eyes, a light of love and compassion and acceptance, understanding, wisdom. And when they reach you, they reach out and take your hands in their hands. And they say, I love you, child. I'm here to help you heal and release this decision and the impact of this memory. But first, I want to show you something. And this wise person leads you over to where there's a giant video screen, a large television screen. And the wise being says, in a moment I'm going to touch that screen. And when I do, images from your life will start to appear. Images of events and experiences where you let this limiting decision stop you from being all you could be, from achieving your full potential, from experiencing the depth of the relationships that you want to have in your life. And the wise being says that after you've seen that scene and you understand it, all you have to do is reach out and touch the screen one more time, and a new scene will come up from another time in your life where this limiting decision has stopped you and blocked you from having everything that you deserve and want. And so this wise being reaches out and touches the screen. And as they do, you notice an image begin to form of a time in your life when you let that decision stop you from having everything you deserve and want. Whenever one scene is clear to you, you reach out and you touch the screen again, and another scene appears. It can happen very rapidly or very slowly. And then the wise being says, now it's time to let go of that decision. All decisions can be redecided. What new decision can you make today that will allow you to overcome that old decision? What new decision would be more empowering? What new decision would allow you to have and to receive and to experience all that you want and all that you deserve? And so the two of you together come up with a new decision that will work for you so that you are no longer limited by that decision you made so long ago. And then the wise being says it's time for them to leave. But they're not really leaving you. They're always available to you. All you have to do is close your eyes and ask for them to come, and they'll be there for you. To answer any question, to help you understand anything you don't understand, to comfort, to nurture, and support you. Because they've always been there for you. And so this wise being reaches out and pulls you toward them and gives you a big embrace, warm hug. Then this wise person steps back and says, it's time for you now to become moving forward in time and space, back to the present moment, bringing these awarenesses and this new decision with you. And so you begin to come forward through time and through space, until eventually you find yourself back here in this time, in this room. And as you do, you can feel your back against the back of your chair and your legs against the seat of your chair. Perhaps your feet on the floor. And as you feel the rise and fall of your chest and stomach, begin to hear the sounds of the people moving around you. Whenever you're ready, you can stretch your arms and legs a little bit. And when it feels right, take a deep breath, and as you exhale, just open your eyes. Come on back into the room. Okay, if you'll open your notebook again, you'll find a place where you can write down what that event was, what the limiting decision you made was, and how that decision has limited you up until now, and what the new decision is. If you fell asleep or spaced out and you're not sure what happened there, just do it as a mental exercise. You know, what do you think was a limiting time in your life when you had a significant failure to please? What decision might you have made? How's it limited you? What new decision can you make?
You have reached the end of this disc, but there's more. Just go to the next DVD. To resume listening to this course on audio CD, please go to CD number 16.